Welcome to today's episode of People with Passion for Pets. My guest on the show today is Devin Kelly and his wife, Peggy. Together, they created a company called DOGPAK, which was inspired by their adventures and life with their dog, Thunder. Their mission is to create innovative outdoor adventure gear for pets. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Devin.
Hey, Peggy. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Welcome to the show. Well, I am excited for today's interview. As I mentioned in the introduction, you guys created this company out of it's almost a tribute to your life with your dog Thunder, right? Is that correct?
Yes, it's very much inspired by my travels with Thunder for the last 13 years together. And really the impetus behind the company is to pay homage to Thunder, my best friend,
Yeah, and that speaks so much to me because, of course, we love adventures with our dogs. And I think a lot of people that listen to the podcast, they want to have a life with dogs. When I look at the products that you are creating, you want to make adventure fun and create innovative dog products that are functional, but they're also obviously great for outdoor adventures. So talk a little bit about the life that you and Thunder had, because it's so interesting how much you have done together.
Yeah, sure. Almost 14 years ago, I had just left West Point, the United States Military Academy, and was interested in getting a dog as a companion. Always dreamed of singing tunes with a pup next to me in the back of my pickup truck, under a beautiful starry night. So I went to a local rescue center and found this little mountain cur puppy. He was just a puppy, and I was still kind of a puppy too in a way. And so began the adventures of Thunder the Wonder Dog. Our first stop was working on a 39,000 acre cattle ranch in Arizona, northwest of Phoenix. He eventually learned how to heel cattle from the other cattle healing dogs, even though he doesn't have the instinct for that. But I would teach him, go get him, back, line up, and he'd get back online. Eventually, we would go on to work with the vaqueros in Mexico, Nicaragua, where I started a natural horsemanship clinic. Thunder would run with me on the beach every day, go swimming in the surf, ride with me on my dirt bike. He'd sit up on the fuel tank with his paws over the handlebars and his ears blowing in the wind. South America, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, climbed some 5,000 meter peaks in Peru, eventually came over to Europe at one point, back to the US. We've together been to 30 countries and most of the United States.
That's wonderful. Now, you guys also worked in Colorado as a rescue team, is that correct?
Yeah, that was just before I moved to Nicaragua, working at Wolf Creek in Colorado, a smaller ski resort in southeast Colorado. I was friends with the guy who ran the Canine, the avalanche rescue team. I was speaking to my friend Colin, and he said, yeah, bring your pup along. We'll train him or work on the training process. And it turns out Thunder did a great job training as an avalanche rescue dog. He passed the final test and became an official avalanche rescue dog. And now he's almost 14, so he's on pension.
He's retired now.
Wait, his last job was there at Sequoia, right?
I worked for the National Park Service in Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park in California. I was part of the mule and horse packing team. So we would pack the animals with all kinds of supplies like shovels, pickaxes, chainsaws, food, gasoline, sometimes even dynamite, and pack them to the backcountry.
And that's interesting that you mentioned that, because you had talked to me before about the fact that really that particular job gave you a lot of insights into pack animals, how to pack. And your biggest product right now is the Moab Light Backpack. And you kind of used all of the things that you've learned from that, is that correct, into making this particular backpack?
I have a pretty intimate and intuitive knowledge of the way that four-legged animals move. The way a dog moves is a little bit different than a horse, of course, but the gaits are very similar and their preference for a trot is similar. So when you're moving like that, when you have a dog moving like that, it's important that a pack fits correctly, or else it will begin to teeter side to side. The other aspect of my background is as a parachute rigger for skydiving and base jumping. I learned how to pack the emergency parachutes for people, how to fix parachutes so patches in when people land in a tree or something. Like at some point it dawned on me, with my background and the travels that I've shared with Thunder, I thought I'm really the guy to start this kind of a company, So
yeah. Why I wanted you on the show is I am so fascinated by your insights into, how dogs should be wearing a backpack. Like so many people that come on my show, you want to do outdoor adventures with your dog, you're looking for great gear for your pet, and you find out not all of the gear that's out there is really great gear, right? Some of it is maybe not performing too well. And obviously with your background, you were quickly in noticing that. So that's kind of where you come from, right? When you say, I'm going to make a dog pack, and that's going to be our first product that's coming out there.
Yeah, exactly. We've tested a lot of canine gear over the last 13 years, and I felt that canine gear, at the same time that human outdoor gear evolves year after year with the latest in fabric technology, material sciences, canine gear and the way it's built has been at a standstill for a decade or more. I wanted to bring these new fabrics and these new gear technologies to the world of outdoor canine gear.
So let's talk a little bit about this beautiful backpack that you created for dogs, and then maybe a little bit more about your philosophy in, what needs to be in a dog pack.
So we just received the finalized version of what we call the Moab Light Canine Backpack and hiking harness. The idea behind this design was to be ultralight, waterproof, and slimmer capacity, and slim enough to fit as your daily hiking harness, with the capacity to also hold a few liters worth of gear or water or kibble, first aid kit, whatever you need. But it doubles as a walking harness as well because of its lightweight, its slimmer profile. And that was really the initial thing that I saw with a lot of canine backpacks on the market, is they're really like very large capacity, and there are very few adventures that require that kind of capacity for your dog. So the risk there is the potential for overloading the dog. And it's important to keep in mind that both weight and bulk should be considered, because even lightweight but bulky items like a dog's sleeping bag or the dog's jacket, if you put them in the saddlebags and the sides of the pack, they'll end up sticking out to here on each side. And that extra leverage, it creates a teetering motion. A better way to pack these lightweight, bulkier items is to tie them down as a top pack across the dog's shoulders. That's what we do with the mules and the horses. So you can roll up your dog's coat or sleeping bag and tie it across the dog's shoulders.
And that's why we have these here. Right?
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so these are little tie downs.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The lash tabs for that.
Yeah.
So Thunder, that's what we do with Thunder, my pup. The weight and bulk distribution keeps the pack much more centered than otherwise.
Yeah.
Plus, it gets frustrating when the dog runs into the brush and it's getting hung up and on everything.
It's way bigger than he's supposed to be. And then another, I think, very important thing for us was the reflectivity.
I love the white. Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
even now, just with the light we have in
Yes.
here, you can really see that.
Yes.
And so that's a staple from ours that we said we want to incorporate in every pack we do. And the cool thing is, in daylight, it just looks like a light gray. Once the light shines on it, it's super bright. And like we've tested it, it's been 25 to 30 meters with the headlamp on medium, and you can see it. So
That's
I
awesome.
mean, and that's something that Devin was really talking about. There's nothing scarier than, you know, your dog running off in the bushes, like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time hunting for the optimal fabric. We tested probably at least hundreds of them, you know.
Yeah.
And
we had in total, I think, 11 or 12 prototypes.
yeah, we
Like,
built various prototypes.
It's been a ride.
We settled on a kind of ultralight fabric that's called Robic nylon, and that offers more strength than your typical nylon 6 fabric, which is normal nylon, and it also weighs less. And then this particular, so it's a ripstop fabric, which just means that it has a gridded pattern in its with reinforcement threading. And in this fabric, the reinforcement threading uses Kevlar. And then in addition to that, it has a PU coating rated up to 1500 millimeters of waterproofing, which
Nice.
I know I'm getting very technical now, but any gear nerds out there like me will appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now show a little bit how the harness would actually be put on the dog, whether the straps or the buckles that you're using.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll bring our model up to demonstrate. This is
perfect.
the Plume version of Thunder.
Of Thunder,
That's
yes.
awesome. That's so cute. Hi, Thunder. Thunder 2.0.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was just
He's wearing our size small. One thing that's really important with this kind of like a Y-shaped harness across the chest is that these shoulder straps need to fit above the dog's shoulder bone here.
Okay.
And if they're too long, they can slip, and that can cause rubbing points and also inhibit the dog's motion. So in order to make these straps fit as best as possible, we used a certain technique for adjustment that essentially, it's difficult to explain, but it basically allows adjustment through the whole range of the length of the strap. So you can go all the way to almost touching to as large as you need to. And that is in order to fit all the different shapes of dogs out there.
Yeah.
That's one of the hurdles. But so that was important for us. This style of adjustment is it's different than many other backpacks on the market.
And then you have this one.
And then this sternum strap helps keep the main cinch strap forward, which helps to secure the load and keep the load centered over the dog's shoulders where they're strongest. We also use a certain technique that you might see on other backpacks that includes a small strip of elastic. I'm not sure if that'll be visible, but it includes a small strip of elastic with the nylon running over it. And that allows the backpack to kind of snug up and reduces slipping.
So you have that smaller chest plate, but then underneath the belly, you actually have some fabric, because most of the time you just have straps under there. And I like that is a lot thicker because it's not like digging in or, you know, moving around very much.
Yeah. And same on the side here, right?
Yeah, and on the side.
Down, so you usually just have the straps coming down. And what we did, we have a triangle here that is underneath the pack, right? That is the fabric to then go under, which is also something we really, as you said, think it's important. Yeah.
So
wonderful. Looks great.
Thank
Talk a little bit about Devin. I love your philosophy on good job, Thunder 2.0.
Well done.
I love your philosophy on dog packs in general and actually getting dogs used to carrying weight. So talk a little bit about that because I have not heard that before.
Really important topic. It's one that I've covered a lot on the DOGPAK blog, for example, but there are concerns with using a dog backpack, and there are also a handful of benefits that are not necessarily intuitive. Some of the other reasons to use a dog backpack are, of course, it helps you to stay organized. You can kind of redistribute the load, but when you carry things like a canine first aid kit on a hike, I find it much more convenient to keep that in the dog's backpack where you can get to it right away because you know where it is, rather than take your pack off and fumble through and move all the socks and try to find it. It also means anybody else in the group knows right where the pack is, just in case.
Absolutely.
Like you mentioned, there are great benefits to giving a dog a job, right? We oftentimes talk about that they have to have something to do. And when you incorporate a backpack, just like you do when you incorporate, let's say, a service vest for a dog, the dog understands when certain gear comes out, when I'm wearing this particular gear, now this is my job. So it is a mental stimulating and very fulfilling feeling for them. So I think that's a great benefit for using backpacks. You know, Devin, you talk about dogs really aren't meant to be pack animals, right? So there's that aspect of this could have a negative influence as well, and we need to be careful. So speak a little bit to that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like with humans, it's really important that the dog is properly conditioned to carry whatever the load is that it's carrying. I couldn't go out tomorrow and hike the Appalachian Trail, for example. I would need months of preparation, starting with smaller walks and progressively getting longer. Same with the weight, smaller weight, progressively getting heavier. And this kind of conditioning regimen is really important for the dogs as well. A properly conditioned dog, when Thunder, for example, was at his prime, he was running, he was probably running a marathon a day, if you could calculate it all, because he would run, we'd be in the four-wheelers or whatever on the ranches, and he would run and run back to the barn and run with us and go on a cattle drive. When we would go hiking, he could carry somewhat heavier loads. The general recommendation, never more than 25% of a dog's weight. And even that figure is only for dogs that are properly conditioned to it. Most dogs should be starting, most healthy dogs that have the correct structure and frame for carrying a backpack should start maybe around 10 to, and then work up to 15%. Speaking about having the correct frame and essentially the correct state of health for carrying backpacks, you can usually rule out the extremes. So a very, very small dog, of course, shouldn't really be carrying extra weight. And very, very large dogs also have a concern with being loaded too heavily because of sometimes they come with predispositions toward things like hip dysplasia and growing pains, and all of that could be exacerbated by carrying extra weight.
Yeah, those are some great points. Now, I know you guys mentioned earlier you just got a puppy. At what point do you start a dog with a backpack?
I think to some extent it does depend on the dog and the breed. To that extent, for example, generally speaking, larger breeds, they take longer for their growth plates to close. So what you're looking for is for the growth plates to properly close. Introducing a backpack, starting with an empty backpack, it's little more than a harness. So it's essentially the same as a harness that you can start at. as a puppy.
Yeah.
We
Once
we
it
use,
fits. Yeah, once it fits. So our new puppy that we just got, he's our rescue puppy. He's 5 months now. And literally the size small fits him perfectly at this point. And it's really good training for him. And now already since a couple of days, like he already knows when I get that out, there's just no weight in it. But it's good training just mentally for him.
So now Thunder has somebody else that he has to train. So, you mentioned he's retired, but not quite all retired, right? First he had to be a model for the backpack, and now he has to be a big brother to.
But it's been great. Like I'm so happy. It was like, sent from heaven. Like everything just fell into place. Like not to speak of that he looks exactly like Thunder when
oh my goodness.
he adopted Thunder when he was 5 months old. Our puppy now is 5 months old when we adopted him.
What's the puppy's name?
Theseus.
Theseus.
Very cute.
I had as a kid, Theseus was my favorite hero from Greek mythology, and I like the alliteration of Thunder and Theseus.
Yeah. Is there going to be a short to that, or you think you'll always keep it at Theseus?
That's a good question, because I asked myself that too. But one thing that I've learned with Thunder is the other nicknames I call him sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with Thunder.
Yeah.
I call him this and that and all these like silly nicknames.
Yeah.
And they just develop out of I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. We'll see what comes.
So Apollo is Fuzzbud.
Yeah. Thunder is Din Din. Thunder is Din Din.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. It's like, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it's great to see new light in him. And we really grateful for that. Somehow this just came to be, and we have the time now, and it's awesome. Yeah.
And I always love when I do have a senior dog and I bring in a puppy, because they do a lot of the training for me, right? I remember when I had Jaeger and we got Apollo as a puppy, and now that Jaeger is gone, I sometimes look at Apollo and I'm like, I bet you Jaeger taught you that, because he loves the water, and all of the things that were so unique to Jaeger, he just kind of has taken on some of those, and just things like a recall. You got a puppy that wants to run after a senior dog. Everything is so much easier when you do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true. And Thunder, over the last 13 years, I've always said of him, he knows something we don't. He has this zen about him.
He's so wise,
and he has a wisdom that is so well spent teaching a younger puppy. So now he has the chance.
So your website, DOGPAK.com, it's not just to go to and purchase your great products, but we hope that anybody listening, check out the site, because there's so much information there. And if you love outdoor adventure gear, and if you love outdoor adventures with your pet, then you want to make sure that you check out Devin's blog, because there's a lot of great tips out there. And obviously more to come as you guys are growing as a company.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Really, the underlying mission behind DOGPAK is to help people develop deeper bonds with their dogs through adventuring together, which is in reflection, in retrospect, kind of how Thunder and I developed the inseparable bond that we have. So one means of helping people develop these bonds is making it easier for them to get outside and adventure by making canine gear. Another means is providing insight and education and entertainment related to that subject.
So before I let you go, share one more time where people can connect with you.
Yeah. So my name's Devin. This is Peggy, and we're the founders of DOGPAK. DOGPAK.com. So DOGPAK.com is our main website. We are on Instagram. The handle is @the_DOGPAK. TikTok.
@DOGPAK_canine gear. And now we just started on Instagram because we just got a new puppy. So I just started a new Instagram page, obviously for Thunder and Theseus. So
Wonderful.
you find that there on well to just share some more insights on also how to introduce a young puppy with the older one and just the fun of it, you know?
Yeah, that's wonderful. So of course, we'll be sure to share all the links in the description below our video as well. So if people want to look you up, they can follow those links down there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, B. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. You have a good day.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please like it and please share it with your friends and family and leave your comments below. And I'm sure that you would also love the rest of our interviews. So check out that playlist right over here. And until next time, keep your paws on the road.